I'm a storyteller. This is episode 258 of our daily fable series. We've done 257 stories so far, and we're going to do many more, but today we're doing a special story. This is not just a fable, it is a parable Jesus told. And like all parables, it has a big idea buried inside a simple tale. So pay attention. It is called the parable of the Good Samaritan. Many scholars believe this is the most famous parable Jesus ever told, which makes sense. Its subject is love, the most important topic in the universe. In Luke's Gospel, chapter 10 verse 25, we read, "A certain man went down from Jerusalem to Jericho, and on the way he fell among thieves, who stripped him of his clothing, beat him and departed, leaving him half dead." See our traveler. He's on a road from Jerusalem to Jericho. That's a popular route, and bad news travels fast. Soon a priest is coming along that same road and sees the injured man. He walks right past him. Then a Levite, a temple worker, comes by, and he also walks right past him. Finally, a Samaritan comes by. They're the ones who stop, tend to the traveler's wounds, bring him to an inn, take care of him overnight, and make sure he's well cared for. Then the next day, they hand over silver coins to the innkeeper and say, "Take care of him. Whatever more you spend to help him, I will pay you back when I return." That's the parable. Now let's unpack it. Some translations call the injured man a victim. How does that fit with the idea of free will? Well, the word victim means victim, but it also means food for sacrifice. When we tell the story this way, it reminds us that the victim is also a volunteer. He chose to walk this road. He may have had reasons for doing so. It was a common route. Maybe he knew the risks. Perhaps he had to make this journey. So while we pity the man, we must also recognize that he willingly signed up to be a victim. Next we see the priest and the Levite. They are religious leaders. They're supposed to care about victims, yet they pass right by without helping. Why? First, let's rule out some possibilities. They weren't too busy. They weren't afraid of getting hurt. And they definitely weren't uncaring. But there was another reason. The victim wasn't one of them. He was a Jew, and they were Pharisees. Back then, Jews didn't like Samaritans. There was a deep rivalry between the two groups. Mostly because Samaritans worshipped in their own temple and followed a slightly different interpretation of the law. Plus, their ancestors had intermixed with other nations, so Jews considered Samaritans impure. Could this be why the priest and the Levite passed by? Because they felt he wasn't worthy of their help. Finally, here comes the Samaritan. He sees the victim and stops. Now, normally, the Samaritan doesn't owe the Jewish man anything. He's not obligated to help him. They aren't friends. They don't have a relationship, yet he stops anyway. We should pause here. The Samaritan could easily convince himself that it's not his problem. After all, the man isn't a friend. He's a stranger. This is a dangerous situation, and the Samaritan has no obligation to stick around. So why does he stop? Perhaps because he recognizes his own humanity in the victim's pain. Maybe he understands that anyone, Jew or Samaritan, could end up in this situation. Maybe he knows that helping strangers is the right thing to do. Now, notice how the Samaritan didn't just help, he went out of his way to show extra kindness. He dressed the man's wounds, took him to a safe place, paid for his stay, and made sure he'd be okay. These actions speak loudly about the Samaritan's character. He wasn't motivated by fear, obligation, or social pressure. He was motivated by compassion. And that's important because compassion is contagious. When we see someone hurting, our natural response is often to feel our own empathy and match the emotion. That's why seeing the Samaritan act with such kindness stirs something in us. We catch his enthusiasm and feel inspired to do the same. Compassion is an invitation to take action. It gives us a reason to go out of our way. And the final detail, the Samaritan says, "Whatever more you spend to help him, I will pay you back when I return." Notice the unconditional nature of this statement. The Samaritan isn't setting any limits. He's not saying, "I'll pay for the food, but not for the lodging." He's not saying, "I'll pay for his safety, but not for his comfort." He's basically saying, "Take care of my friend, do whatever it takes. I'll pay you back when I return." What's the lesson here? One simple sentence. Love your neighbor as yourself. That's it. The Samaritan loved the victim as much as he loved himself. He gave as much as he could. He helped as much as he could. And that's the standard the parable sets for each of us. Here are 3 things to remember. First, don't pass by victims. It's easy to get lost in our lives and ignore the suffering of others. We get distracted by deadlines, obligations, and a million other things. But the parable asks us to stop, to take notice, to see the needs around us. Second, go out of your way to help. The Samaritan didn't just stop, he took extra steps to help the victim. He spent more than he needed to. He went out of his way to show extra kindness. And he did it not because he was afraid or obligated or pressured, but because he had compassion. Third, don't limit your concern. The Samaritan was willing to pay for whatever expenses came up, no questions asked. He trusted the innkeeper to do the right thing, and he promised to repay whatever was needed. Don't put limits on your concern. Give as much as you can, help as much as you can. Love your neighbor as yourself. Here is a thought for the day. If you want to measure how much you love yourself, look at how much you're willing to help others. I'm a storyteller. This is episode 258 of our daily fable series. Today's story was a parable told by Jesus. We'll continue with the fable series tomorrow, but if you're ready for more parables, we've got a playlist of 43 videos. Just search for parables on our channel and you'll find them all there. Thank you for watching. Write a comment below. Let us know what you think. Give a thumbs up if you liked this, share this with a friend, and subscribe to our channel for more every day.